Hello students, today I will discuss with you uh, under optical fibers a topic losses in optical fibers, dispersion in optical fibers and splicing techniques. Now, first of all, losses in optical fibers. Now when light it propagates or travel inside the optical fiber, the energy or the power of the light it gets reduced due to various mechanisms or reasons. That loss of energy is called attenuation. To measure the losses, we define a quantity called fiber loss or signal attenuation denoted by symbol alpha. It is defined as the ratio of optical input power to the optical output power for a optical fiber of length capital L. So mathematically, fiber loss or signal attenuation alpha, it is equal to 10 divided by L into log with the base 10 and the ratio of input power over output power. And the unit of this alpha, that is fiber loss or signal attenuation, is decibel per kilometer. Now there are various causes or reasons for losses in optical fibers. Main three reasons are absorption, scattering and bending losses. We will discuss each one of these causes in detail in the coming slides. Now first of all, absorption. Absorption in optical fiber is mainly due to the material with which the optical fiber is made. Now, material of the fiber, it absorbs the light, and also there may be some impurities in the material of the fiber which also reduces the energy of light or it absorbs the light. So accordingly, material absorption loss, it is of two types: intrinsic absorption, in which the loss of energy of light is due to the fiber material like glass, which is mainly used to build the optical fiber. Or the second type is extrinsic absorption, in which there may be some impurities in the material. Let the material is glass, then there may be some impurities in the glass like hydroxyl ions or some transition metals being there. So these impurities also absorb the light, and that comes under extrinsic absorption. Now the next type of loss is scattering loss. So what happens that the material of the optical fiber may have non-uniform density. So it is some manufacturing defect that the material we use, it does not have a uniform density, but there is some variation in the density. Due to variation in the density of the material, there occurs variation in the refractive index of the material. So when the refractive index varies, it causes scattering of light. And this scattering is also of two types: non-linear scattering and the linear scattering. In the linear scattering, we further divide it into two types, that is Rayleigh scattering and Mie scattering. In the linear scattering, we experience no change in the frequency of light after scattering. or in other words, if the frequency of light remains the same after scattering, that type of scattering is called linear scattering. Now, in Rayleigh scattering, if the linear scattering is occurring uh, or is done by some particles which are smaller in size than the wavelength of the light, then that type of scattering is Rayleigh scattering. So it means that those atoms or molecules which are responsible for the scattering, their size is smaller than the wavelength of light. So then it is called Rayleigh scattering. The second type is the Mie scattering. In Mie scattering, the size of the particles, they are nearly equal to the wavelength of light. So when the scattering particles has size which is almost equal to the wavelength of light, then that type of scattering done by these particles is called Mie scattering. So both these scatterings, Rayleigh scattering and Mie scattering, they come under linear scattering. Linear scattering is that in which the frequency of light remains same after scattering. The second is non-linear scattering. So you can easily follow that here after scattering the frequency of light changes. So when the frequency of light changes after scattering, we have non-linear scattering. So this was the main points about scattering. Then we have the third type of losses, that is bending losses. So that is also in the manufacturing, it's a manufacturing cause, that sometimes the fibers may not be fully straight. There may be some type of deformation or bending in the shape of optical fiber. These bends or deformations during the manufacturing also result in the losses. So there are two types of bendings which mainly occur in optical fibers. One is the macroscopic bending. In the macroscopic bending, the bending diameter or the radii is large as compared to the diameter of the optical fiber. It means that the bend is large. There is a large deformation in the fiber material. So that type of bending is called macroscopic bending. Now the other type of bending is the micro bending. So as the name suggests, micro bending occurs when there is very small bend or deformation in the fiber. So in that case, when the variations are very small in the core size, then we obtain micro bending. But both these bendings, they reduce the energy of the light. So this was all about different causes of losses in optical fibers. Now we will study another important aspect of optical fibers, that is dispersion. So what is dispersion? When any light pulse, it travels through the optical fiber, it gets broadened with time. So what happens? There occurs broadening of the optical light when it passes through the optical fiber. So that broadening of the light is called dispersion. Now this broadening of the light pulse, it can be due to various reasons. First is intermodal dispersion. Intermodal dispersion means that now the broadening is due to interaction between different modes of light in the optical fiber. So one thing you keep in mind that that intermodal dispersion always occurs when there are multi-modes in the optical fiber. So what happens in this type of dispersion, that if the modes they travel inside the optical fiber, they have different velocities. It means all these light modes, they don't reach the output or the end of the optical fiber at the same time. This leads to the broadening of the light pulse, and the process is called intermodal dispersion. So here keep in mind that in intermodal dispersion it always occurs in the multi-mode optical fibers. Now the second type is the intramodal dispersion. As the name suggests, intramodal dispersion means then when the dispersion occurs between the same modes. It means that intramodal dispersion can also occur in the single mode fibers as well as multi-mode fibers. The intramodal dispersion is further divided into two types: material dispersion and waveguide dispersion. Now as we know that the light waves which are traveling in the optical fiber have different wavelengths, therefore they will also have different velocities, and we know from the formula of refractive index that it is the ratio of velocity of light in vacuum over velocity of light in the medium. In that case, when the velocity of light changes in the medium, the refractive index of that particular wavelength corresponding to that particular wavelength also changes. So this change in refractive index, it produces the broadening of the light pulse, and we call it as material dispersion. Keep in mind that here we are considering one mode at a time, because it is intramodal dispersion. Here the dispersion occurs between the same modes of the fiber. The other is the waveguide dispersion. So in waveguide dispersion, the optical light, when it travels through the fiber, then a small portion of the light also reaches the cladding area. Now the refractive index of core and cladding are different. Therefore, the velocity of light in cladding and core becomes different, and due to which we have waveguide dispersion. As I have discussed with you in the previous article, that when the velocity is non-uniform, then the refractive index is also changing. So here refractive index is changing because velocity of light in the core and the cladding is different. So this results in waveguide dispersion. So this was all about the different causes of dispersion. Then in the third topic we will discuss fiber optic splicing techniques. So what does it mean? These techniques are used when we are to join two optical fibers together. Imagine that the optical fiber is in the shape of a pipe, and suppose I need a long pipe. So what I will do, I will join the optical fibers together so that I can increase the length of the fiber. So that joining technique is the splicing technique. So we can join the two pipes in two ways. One is the mechanical splicing and the other is fusion splicing. In the mechanical splicing, we simply connect the ends of the two optical fibers, and this junction which is formed between the two fibers, it is placed in a self-contained assembly. Now in that assembly there is some gel. It matches the refractive index of the two optical fibers which are joined, so that light could travel from one fiber to the other. Now in the fusion splicing technique, we permanently connect the two ends of the optical fiber. In this fusion splicing technique, the two optical fibers, they are permanently connected to each other using the welding by electronic arc. So this type of splicing is mostly used in the industry, as this fusion splicing, it is very difficult to break the optical fiber which is joined using this technique. So these are the two main techniques of splicing. With this, we have covered the three topics under optical fibers in this lecture. I hope you must have understand all these topics. So thank you all of you.